Hello, my name is David Portillo, and my topic for this speech, this presentation, is on the Mexican War. Just for a disclaimer, when I say the Mexican War, I am also referring to the Mexican-American War. They are the same. It is the same battle, the same war, just different names. So when I refer to Mexican-American War or Mexican War, they're the same. That's just for some clarification. But what I'm going to be discussing in this speech is the causes of the Mexican-American War, as well as the effect of the Mexican-American War and the aftermath of the war. Okay, but some of the things to begin with. The Mexican-American War lasted between 1846 to 1848. As you can clearly see through the name of the war happened between the two countries of Mexico and the United States. Some of the major locations for some of the big battles that we're going to be discussing in this video. One is Texas, the state of Texas, the state of California, and one of the major battles is also in the capital city of Mexico, also known as Mexico City. During this time of American history, we are now at a point where we are expanding, we are growing. We have just gone through the Louisiana Purchase, so we have purchased much land, and as Americans, we are wanting to expand even further, go beyond the boundaries, if you will. This is known as manifest destiny. Manifest destiny. This was believed to be a mandate from God to the American people, saying you are to expand, you are to go west, you are to go further out, expand and grow as a nation, as a people, and they have the right to go and make a living wherever they please. So that's something very important to understand. But here, unfortunately, this would lead to places where Mexico had already occupied. Mexico at this time was one of the world's largest countries in landmass. Okay, one of the world's largest countries in landmass. You were looking south as far as the border of Guatemala, all the way to the border of what is now Canada. Mexico has a lot of land all within its reach, but at this time, Mexico had just lost the state of Texas, that is now Texas. They just lost Texas due to the Battle of the Alamo and due to the Battle of San Jacinto. Once Texas declared its independence, it was independent for about 10 years, and then after that joined up with America. Now there are still some bitter feelings about this war, which do come out across in this Mexican-American War time. At this point, the United States, under the control of President James K. Polk, who at this time, without anybody's big knowledge or big announcement or anything in that regard, had his eyes on Texas, had his eyes on California, and had also been looking at the American Southwest. Again, this goes back to the idea of manifest destiny, pushing Americans to go out and expand. Now, before all the outrage of war started, President Polk was willing to pay Mexico for this land. They were willing to pay so that they can occupy this area. However, Mexico declined the offer. And when they declined the offer, this is where things really started to heat up between these two countries. What happens next is known to be controversial even to this day, where President Polk instructed General Zachary Taylor, who later becomes a president of the United States, to provoke outrage between these two countries. General Taylor him and his troops were sent to the southern border area of Texas and Mexico. The outcome of the outrage was a fight between American troops and Mexican people, Mexican guerrilla groups at that time. Because of this, Polk brought to the attention of Congress that there had been blood spilled and they needed to declare war against Mexico. With such news, Congress decided to declare war on Mexico, Now, something very interesting to see here, historians see that we declared war on Mexico. However, Mexico was never given the chance to respond back. To this day, historians find it very difficult to find where the first drop of blood was actually located. Therefore, that is why it's considered to be a controversial topic. After that time, Mexico and the United States were at war at different times in different areas. Wars broke out within the territory of New Mexico, in Taos, New Mexico, along the southern edge of California in the border area, and also naturally around the border area of Texas. Excuse me. But one of the major and crucial moments of this battle actually took place in the capital city of Mexico, which is known as Mexico City. As the American troops traveled to Mexico City, they began to take over the area. And for the Mexicans at this time, this was one of the last stands that they had. Many of the soldiers on the Mexican side of this war were ranging between the ages of 12, 13 as one of the youngest, to about 16 to 18 years old in this spot. Where their last resort was to go to the military academy. And this battle was known as the Battle of Chapultepec, also known as where the military castle was at. It is a very historical moment. There are many legends to this place. And so that's something very encouraging and very interesting to look into. Although this battle only lasted 60 to 90 minutes, the battle had great importance in the histories of both countries. Historians say to this day that at 1 p.m. the next day of that battle, General Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna, the same general that took the Mexican troops to the Battle of the Alamo, is now here, and he has ordered his troops to withdraw, to retreat back to Guadalupe Hidalgo. At this point, America raised the American flag in saying, we have taken over, it is time to recuperate, it's time to recover. And here's where we have what is known as the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. The Mexican-American War had eventually lasted and ended 2 years after the dispute, and after the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo was signed on February 2nd. This treaty favored the United States, and as it looks, it gave the power of the United States to take over the area of Texas and all the Mexican territories from California to the southwestern area of Wyoming, west of Texas, along the Rio Grande River. This was all for the sum of $15 million. The effect of the war was felt on both sides. For the Americans, it had gained new land, and they were able to continue on this manifest destiny, seeing the idea of a country ranging all the way from the Pacific Ocean to the Atlantic. One of the negative parts of this expansion, however, was that the United States did not realize that these lands were already being occupied, not by the Mexican people, but they were being occupied by the native Indians of that area, who did not care for borders, or who did not care for territories. However, this is where we have tension between Americans and natives beginning, and they begin to become very unsettling, and there are different stories connected to that, but that is one of the negative sides to this. For Mexico, however, the deal was pretty rough. It was pretty rough, where they did gain money. However, the economy moved at a very slow rate to recovery, and it was very hard for the Mexican people at this time. In conclusion, the war truly did have its pros and cons. However, America was able to expand further west, with the addition of Texas, with the addition of California, and the rest of the Southwest. It helped America economically, with the expansion of these territories and the discovery of gold, silver, and oil, America truly started to become a powerhouse within the world. Although there are still mixed feelings between those of Mexican American heritage, there's something very crucial to remember. There still comes a great pride to know the history of where you come from, whether you are from Mexico or you're from the United States. As for myself, being of Mexican American descendant, I've come to the conclusion that it is still very important to understand what has happened in the past and where we are going to be going in the future. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed this. Thank you.